Welcome to the Empowered Mind podcast with Joelle and Natalie Rivera. We are on a never-ending quest to master the power of our mind, develop a growth mindset, and explore the leading edge of positive psychology and human potential so we can take radical personal responsibility for creating our destinies and reaching our potential. In this episode, we're going to talk about the fact that there are 3 ways to polish the turd. And so you might be wondering, what are these crazy people talking about polishing a turd? Well, the truth is that sometimes life hands you a big pile of turd. Something happens that you didn't want, that you don't like, that you would call negative. That's bad. Maybe you even have a quality that you don't like. Maybe there's a circumstance in your life that you just think, why me? And when that happens, rather than just feeling like your life is just a big turd, you can polish that turd and turn it into something and find meaning in what happened. So there's 3 different ways to do that.
For example, when I was younger, when I was 19, I lost my brother in a car accident. And obviously for me, it was a huge traumatizing event. But from that event, it really transformed my life for the better. You know, I'm not going to say that it wasn't the most painful moment in my life. It was, but because of that negative experience, I went from failing college to having a purpose and meaning in my life. And it helped me go back to school, and it helped me achieve and be successful in school and really drive me to try to contribute and make a difference in people's lives. Another example is, I was sick and bedridden for a year and I didn't think I was going to make it. But from that experience, we looked at it as a sabbatical. Like, what can we do with this to keep learning and growing? And what ended up happening was that we ended up launching an online academy, and it started to thrive and it started to do great and really has made a difference in a lot of people's lives. So a lot of times, the worst case scenario, the worst thing that can happen to you that you think is going to hold you back, a lot of times that is a blessing in disguise.
And so that is the first way to polish a turd that you're given, is to find the blessing within what you might feel is a curse or something negative. And really, that's a matter of shifting your perspective of it, being willing to look at the situation and say, what higher purpose could there be? What meaning can I find in it? What can I shift in my life because of this experience? So it's not just something crappy that happens to you, it's something that has a greater meaning for you.
For example, we've had people that come up to us and say, I just got fired, I lost my job. And a lot of times we say, congratulations. And they're like, what do you mean? Congratulations, I just lost my job. But you didn't like your job, so this is an opportunity for you. And again, you can always find the blessings in the experience.
And actually, speaking of jobs, even if you have a job and you hate it, that's also something that you can switch around your perspective. And instead of saying, oh, I hate my job, it's recognizing that you have a job. And there are a lot of people out there that wish they had a job. So the first step is to shift your perspective, to try to find a better way of looking at it and find a deeper level meaning in it. And then you can move into the second way to polish a turd, which is to look for a silver lining, which is similar, but it's a little bit different because it's looking for, what are you going to learn from this? Because sometimes there is a positive, even though a situation seems negative.
For example, we've had businesses that have failed. But instead of looking at it from, okay, this is terrible, where are we going to go from here? There's no direction. We suck at entrepreneurship or whatever it may be, is find a silver lining. What can we learn from this moving forward? What can we do to continue to improve? This is just a lesson to help us grow, finding the good in it. And that's really what it comes down to, is recognizing that every experience in life is a learning experience. It can help us grow. It can help us develop. It can take us to a whole new level if we allow the situation to really teach us what it's trying to teach us.
And so the third way to polish a turd is actually to recognize that sometimes the turd is good. Literally, it actually has good qualities in it. So for instance, you can flip the negative, which means you could turn perhaps a negative quality that you might have into a strength, or a weakness into a strength. And so one example of this is that if you're terribly shy and you have social anxiety, you could look at it like, this is a really terrible quality. But at the same time, it could be a strength because you're probably a lot more observant of what's happening around you. You probably notice things other people don't. You also understand what it's like to be terribly shy. And so in the capacity that you have improved your ability to be in social situations, you understand with other people who are really shy experience. So you could be using that observational skill for something good. You could get a job that actually uses that ability. You could be helping other people who have gone through the same experience, because you wouldn't have understood how to speak their language if you hadn't been through it yourself.
And I'll give you a perfect example of my own life. You know, I'm the type of person that I have a very, very active mind. So when I was younger, it was hard for me to focus because I had an active mind. So my brain is trying to do like 20,000 things and I'm really focusing on the things that I needed to do. But then I realized that I could channel that energy, that it was a negative characteristics I was told, but realistically, it was a blessing because it helped me channel. I could work on multiple projects at the same time. So I would work on something, I'd get tired or bored of it, and then I would jump to like another project I was working on. So that allowed me to go to school full-time, work full-time, and have a side business on at the side and be successful in all of them. Because what I learned, it wasn't that I couldn't handle doing more things. It was that I didn't have enough on my plate to really help me stay focused. I'll give you another example of really polishing the turd. And really, this is using more than just one of the ways that you can do it. We have a good friend, Michael Williams, who used to stutter. And he stuttered to the point that he used to bite his tongue, you know, and when he was having a conversation just to be able to get the words out. And what he realized that there was techniques and stuff that he learned about himself to really get himself grounded, to get himself in the right place, to communicate more effectively. And he learned how to do that. He became a professional speaker. But he realized that he still had this feeling of that he had through his upbringing, through having this experience, and he wanted to contribute. So what he did was that he took his biggest pain in his life and really turned it into the biggest blessing that he could. So he started a company where he would help people who stuttered overcome their stuttering. And he's very successful beyond what he could ever imagine. And what I want to point out is that a lot of times we get challenges in life. We get roadblocks in life. We get things that for us is a big turd in the middle of our path. But we don't recognize that by shining it, by polishing it, by recognizing that that thing that we see as an obstacle can really teach us, can really give us the tools, the knowledge, the experience that we really need to get from point A to point B and what we really want out of life.
And what it really comes down to, and the purpose of what we're trying to say here, is that the people who are successful in life and who are happy in life are the ones that don't look at these, quote, bad things that happen and the turds that they're handed as a sign that they should stop, or that they did something wrong, or that there's something wrong with them. They just look at them as another stepping stone. They look at them and they try to find either a new perspective, to find the blessing in them, or they try to see what they can learn from it. Or they try to see that maybe, just maybe, this is happening for a greater purpose and reason, and that there's actually quality inside of that turd. And all you have to do is be willing to look at it from a different perspective.
Well, with that said, just keep in mind that you don't have to wait till after the experience to reflect and polish it. You can be polishing it while you're going through the experience. You can say, maybe I should be journaling or doing something else that I can take notes and really reflect on what I'm learning from this experience. And by doing that, it actually changes your view of the experience as negative. Because if you're working on what can I do with this to teach other people, to impact other people's lives, or to impact my life in the future, what can I learn from this? And really embrace it, then it's going to change how you view life. And it's also going to help you overcome the experience much, much quicker. So lastly, last question we have to ask you. Are you ready to polish your turd?
Thank you, fellow Freedom Junkies, for listening. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. And if you want to help us grow, please rate and share this podcast. You can also become a member of Freedom Nation. Visit freedomorbustpodcast.com and sign up to receive access to exclusive content and take the 21-day happiness challenge. As you know, we believe that entrepreneurship is the ultimate form of empowerment, which is why we created the Side Hustle Business Startup course for anyone looking to create their own income and take back their power. We offer an exclusive discount for our podcast listeners. Find out more at freedomorbustpodcast.com.